You're listening to the 412 podcast from FBC Mustang in Mustang, Oklahoma, where we take you behind the scenes as we equip the saints for the work of the ministry. I'm Jeremy Davis, your host. Let's get started. What is it that you're looking forward to the most?
Great chance to get to know people better.
It is an absolute madhouse.
I try to find a place with good salads.
So 3 sermons a day.
I never did youth ministry, mainly because I'm scared.
It feels good up here.
We run to the woods thinking, Lord, take my life. I'm done.
Often how I prepare my own heart. I'm looking and reading and thinking.
We had students in the room, 6th through 12th graders, singing at the top of their lungs the doxology.
The engine that is pulling the train should be truth.
I like it.
I like it too.
Okay.
Welcome back to another episode of the 412 podcast, and this is our last episode in our series covering our pastors and our families, getting to know them a little bit. And today we have our senior pastor, Dr. Michael Staton, and his wife, Marcy, with us. So thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure.
Very good. And so glad you're here. So as we start, let's talk about a little bit before we get to church stuff. Tell us about yourselves, introduce your family to us, and then tell us how you guys met.
Yeah, so Marcy and I married in 1996. We have 2 sons. One was born in 99, one born in 01. Cale graduated high school in 17. Benjamin graduated high school in 19. They are both married, and Cale and Bailey have a 1.5-year-old little boy named Sutton Michael, and Benjamin and Mary have a 1.5-year-old little girl, Rosie May. So that's our family.
Yeah, and we met in college. Actually, I had moved in as a freshman into the dorm and gone to an orientation over the weekend and met just a guy that was helping with freshman orientation. I was interested in a local church, and this was before the internet, so you couldn't look up churches and see what their ratings were or reviews or anything, and so you just had to go by word of mouth. And he said, I'll tell you what, me and my buddy will come pick you up and your roommate tomorrow, and we'll take you with us to church, to Henderson Hills in Edmond, because that's where we were going to school. And the buddy was Michael.
It was me.
Yeah.
There you go.
There he was, behind the wheel of a brand spanking new red Beretta.
Chevy Beretta. Yeah.
And I was impressed.
Yeah, my friend invited 3 freshmen to go to church with us. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, we're going to go pick up these freshmen and take to church. And so I drove that day, so we went to pick up these 3 girls. And the 3 different girls came out to the car, and I said to my friend, did you meet any guys at orientation? And he said, none that I want to get to know.
There you go.
He invited these 3 girls to church, just trying to find a wife, I think, and I did.
There you go.
Yeah, we went to church, and then after church, we went to Brahms. So I guess I would say that was our first date, although it was just a bunch of people going out to Brahms. So.
Right.
But...
Yep, that's how we met.
Very good. And you've got quite a bit of history with Brahms, right, Michael?
I did work there. Yeah. I worked at Brahms in South Oklahoma City when I was 15. Only place to hire me because I wasn't 16 yet.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't drive.
Uh-huh.
And so I had to bum rides from friends and buddies of mine that would take me to work or come pick me up. And so I usually just worked double shifts because I couldn't get home anyway.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Might as well make some money.
And not to be outdone, I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yes, indeed.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She doesn't want to brag about that.
I was in chicken, he was in beef.
Yeah.
It was a match made in heaven.
Yeah, we've got your fast food services covered.
There you go.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started in ministry. Tell us a little bit about that call to ministry, and maybe some of those first things that started happening as you felt that calling.
Yeah, so I've loved the church my whole life. My dad was a bivocational music minister. I've always loved the church, always looked forward to going to church. Never was a time in my life when I wasn't in church. So in college, I was active in our church there in our college town, in our college Sunday school ministry, active in our BSU is what it was called at the time. And loved to serve however I could. As the Lord began to call me to ministry, I ran from that call. I didn't run from the Lord in the sense of running away from church or running away from reading the Word, but I had a paralyzing fear of public speaking, and so I couldn't figure out how you could be in ministry if you literally couldn't speak in front of a crowd. And so I ran from the call. I continued to be in the Word, continued to go to church, continued to find ways to serve, but ran from surrendering to that. In February there, my junior year, my wife and I, we were dating at the time, were outside of her dorm room in a car and just kind of walking through these things. And I had plans to graduate and begin to pursue a PhD in clinical counseling. But I knew the Lord was calling me to preach. I had no doubt about that at all. And I just couldn't figure out how to make sense of that with my situation. And Marcy said to me, Michael, don't try to outplan God. And literally in God's providence, those words changed my life.
Wow.
Literally.
Yeah.
And the next day, I surrendered publicly to preach, knowing that's what the Lord was calling me to do. Had no idea how it was going to work. And fast forward to May, there's a church in South Oklahoma City, had a pastor who had been my college pastor in church. They were looking for a youth minister, couldn't find one. Summer was fast approaching, and so he called me and said, hey, we're looking for a youth minister, haven't found someone we like yet. Could we hire you to work this summer until we find someone we really want? And he said, you would be the assistant summer youth leader. When we hire someone we like, you would just assist that person till the end of summer.
Yeah.
And then go away.
Right.
And I said, sure, I need a job and looking for ministry experience. And so I said yes to that and worked at that church for 7 years.
There you go.
Before coming here.
Yeah.
And for me, I was kind of left behind at UCO because he was ahead of me in school. And so I began commuting to that church on the weekends and teaching Sunday school and doing my best to start to partner with him in ministry, although we were dating at the time and we weren't engaged yet. Were we engaged yet?
Nope.
No. And so I was kind of just the girlfriend, and we were extremely young. So the seniors in that group were 18. Well, I was maybe 19. So my authority wasn't real, great at that time because I didn't really, they're like, who are you? And so I enjoyed that time of getting to kind of get my feet wet a little bit and partnering with him in ministry, but was kind of from afar, a lot of it. And again, no internet, there was no, we couldn't text each other all day. If I left my dorm room in the morning to go to class, then I had zero contact with him unless he called my answering machine or something.
It was great training ground, though.
Yeah.
It was a great church to learn in and great people. We enjoyed it a lot. They supported us and loved us. They were super kind and gracious to us. That church gave me so many opportunities and far more than I probably deserved to have. I served as youth minister for 4 years and then transitioned to associate pastor. And so at that point, I was teaching Wednesday nights for every week and preached regularly on Sunday nights and Sunday mornings and had a chance to do really everything. Did weddings and funerals, and it was a great place to learn. I'm very thankful for that church and those people that were so good to us, and we still have friends that are dear to us from being there in the 90s.
And you had some previous ministry exposure. Your dad was involved in ministry and grew up with the south side of Oklahoma City. Maybe share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my dad was vocal music teacher at Del City High School for 35 years, I think it was. I know he started in '69 after he graduated from OBU. And so he was bivocational also at the church. And so went to, when I was a very small child, we went to a church that was called South Del. Today it's Bryant Avenue. My dad was music minister there. 1978, our family moved to Capitol Hill Baptist Church, and we were there from 78 to 85, and that was for all of my elementary years.
Okay.
And so those years for me were really important and developmental for me. I have a lot of memories from being there and I'd love to go to the church when my dad would go there.
Yeah.
My dad was bivocational, so during the week he was just there a few days a week. In the summers, though, he would go in the church.
Okay.
Usually daily.
Yeah.
And so we'd go with him, and I'd love to be in the church, and we'd go up there and hang out when he was in the office, or go to the gym and play while he was in the office. And I just developed a great love for the church.
Yeah.
And so I did have exposure to kind of the inside of what church ministry was like.
Right.
And when I surrendered the ministry, I felt like as best I could, I knew what ministry was like as best you could, in that spot.
Yeah.
And I didn't run from the calling at all because of fear of working in a church or out of a desire to not be in the church. It was just simply a matter of a fear of public speaking I could not get over.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see how I was going to be able to faithfully be effective in any way with that.
Yeah.
But I had a great love for the church. My parents my mom was the church secretary for a lot of my years growing up. So I saw my parents serving at the church, working at the church, attending the church, loving the church.
Yeah.
And so that was certainly passed down to me.
Very cool. I love that. Marcy, you grew up in a big city, right?
Yeah.
One stoplight.
One stoplight. But you did not grow up in the church.
I didn't at first.
Okay.
When I was a small child, my parents were not believers, and my mother had been invited to a Bible study by her sister-in-law. And she went to that, and the Lord just, grabbed a hold of her heart. And I always say, when my parents got saved, they got saved because we as kids saw a complete 180 at home. The things that we did with our time, we no longer did. We were doing family devotionals at night. We were going to church every Sunday, every time the door was open. I even remember a big purge that my mom decided, we're getting rid of things that don't honor the Lord. And, back then it was 8 tracks and records. And I remember we had like a little, bonfire of the past life of the Frees. My last name was Free. And we just began listening to one particular record we listened to in my home all the time. Well, there were 2. One of them was a Keith Green record, and he was famous for just his evangelism in that he just gave away what he had. And I believe that the record that we had just shown up in the mail. And it was called So You Want to Go Back to Egypt, and all the tracks on it were just straight out of the Bible. And so we listened to that record till it was ground down. And then the other one was Second Chapter of Acts.
Okay.
Which was a trio, a brother and his 2 sisters that were pretty hot back in those days. And we listened to that record. It was called Rejoice, and we listened to it over and over again. And the change that I saw as a little kid, I was maybe 5 or 6 when that change happened, was it imprinted on my heart. This is what the Lord does.
Yeah.
This is how the Lord changes lives. And so it was greatly, deeply impacting to me to see that change in our family.
Wow. How cool, and to see the Lord work in both of you in different ways, bring you together, and now you're doing ministry together. So fast forward, you've been here at First Mustang for 25 years. You serve as our senior pastor. Talk a little bit about the joys of ministry here, where you're at today.
Yeah, when the Lord moved us here November of 2000, and we came here with a very clear sense in our hearts this is what the Lord wanted us to do. Certainly we didn't know we were going to be here for 25 years. What we did know is that this is where the Lord had directed our hearts, and we wanted to give everything we had to the church and the people here. And the Lord gave us a love for the church, a love for the people, and I think pretty early on, just a unique connection with the people here. I came as the associate pastor, served for 3 years, really almost to the day, and then transitioned to senior pastor 3 years later. And our prayer had been, well, the Lord's sovereign over our lives. We know that. He can direct his people. But our prayer, our heart's desire was that if the Lord wanted me to pastor a church, that he would just put us in a place and just plant us, and that we would just give our lives to those people and that congregation. Lord doesn't have to do that. That's not always his will for people. We know that. That was the desire he put in our hearts. And so when I transitioned, I don't know that I would have told you then I'm going to be here for 25 years. But I would have said, as much as we can discern God's will, that we're approaching this as this is our life's work.
Right.
Which meant that if things were imperfect, it was okay because we were going to be here to try to work and serve and lead through it. And if there were things that needed to be changed, and even if it was very difficult, it was okay because we were here for the long haul. So and so, through those 25 years, there are lots of great joys and great moments and great memories and a few painful ones, and that's life and for anybody in any walk of life I know.
Yeah.
But I do choose the way I live my life to strive to look at where is God at work and how is the Lord blessing, and I don't spend a lot of time dwelling on negative things. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about things. I try to stay pretty focused on what the Lord's called me to do and how do I do that effectively today, how do I do that effectively this week. And the truth of the matter is, I try to kind of intentionally keep a pace of ministry and life where I don't really have time to sulk if my feelings are hurt. I don't really have time to worry about something if it didn't work out how I wanted to. There's another deadline.
Yeah.
And that's really intentional because I don't want to let my mind have time to dwell on those things. I want to be pushing and moving ahead. So for these 25 years, I mean, there's 1,000 memories that come to mind and many blessings I'm grateful for. But the very greatest blessing for me, I'd have to say that just at the top, is I pastor a church today with people who love the Bible and expect to be taught the Bible. Every Sunday morning, I feel like is a great blessing and a tremendous challenge. I feel like our people here are expectant in a good way.
Yeah.
But I feel the weight of that and the pressure of that, and it's an encouragement to me. It's a challenge to me, and certainly a motivation to me. That'd be my, as far as work goes, my greatest joy is to do that.
Yeah.
And this church has always been so warm and welcoming to us. When we came here, I just turned 26. We had a 1.5-year-old, and I was very pregnant with with Benjamin, our youngest child. And Michael's commute changed. He began driving from Moore to Mustang every day for work. I was back at home, still in Moore, had all these things, new church, and we're going to have to sell this house, find a new house, and it was a lot. And this group of ladies from First Baptist Mustang, one of them had contacted me. Of course, I was coming to church here every Sunday and Wednesday, but I still lived in Moore. And they said, can we come visit you at your house in Moore? And I was like, sure. And this group of gals loaded up in their car. They brought, I'll never forget, they brought chicken salad sandwiches and chips, and they brought everything to me, and loaded up, drove to Moore, got to know me, invested in me, were excited to have us at their church and wanted us to know that. And they put feet to that excitement. And I will never forget that visit. I just thought, wow, this is just the sweetest thing ever. And bringing their own food with them, I didn't have to entertain them.
Yeah.
And so they made that transition really smooth for me. Sometimes I feel like it might be a bit easier for the husband in those situations because he has an automatic brotherhood of, the staff and you're at work every day with the same people, and you make those connections very quickly.
Yep.
Sometimes for the wives, it might be a bit harder, especially when I was still, we were commuting and we weren't in the community. And so for me, that really, that's an a neat memory for me of how they went out of their way to make me feel welcome, help me get connected quickly.
Yeah.
And so I try to keep that in mind. We do our new members class quite often, and I always try to put myself in their shoes.
Yeah.
What are we saying that they're not getting? We're using, terms and calling this group and by a certain name, and they don't even know what that means.
Right.
And so I try to help with that in that class. This is our lingo. This is what we're talking about. And
Yep.
so I just try to put myself in a new person's shoes as much as I can.
Yeah, and you have always been so faithful to serve. And when we pull out old pictures of different ministries throughout the years, you never know where Marcy may pop up in those pictures because you've been involved. It feels like in everything at some point in time. I know you don't do everything all the time, but at some point in time, you've kind of touched nearly every ministry area. And growing up, as somebody who grew up in this church as a kid, I can remember Marcy always being around and just being involved in what was going on. So through the years, what are some of the ministry areas that you've been connected to?
Well, and I feel like I've just kind of followed the seasons of my life.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I was 26 with little kids. And so that put me in the preschool ministry. And so I taught, I think it was younger twos, I don't remember, but it was 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I just talked to one of my 2-year-olds last night at church, Colby Combs. and I was telling him, do you remember when I was your 2-year-old teacher? And he was like, no.
Yes, it was the best class ever.
He learned a lot of theology in that class.
Yeah, of course.
But I just kind of rolled with the season of life that I am in, and I generally would encourage people to do that, to not feel like you have to stay in one type of ministry all the time. If the Lord, changes your interest, changes your heart, changes your season of life, roll with it. And so when my kids were in high school, I found myself at Falls Creek at camp cooking in the kitchen, or just whatever. I did women's ministry for about 9 years. I headed that up and created a couple of events like a Jingle Bell Jamboree, and now someone has taken that over and is doing that, and so I just move on to something else. I sang in the choir for many, many years, and so I have just kind of rolled with the seasons of life and kind of go wherever the Lord's taken me lately. The last 5 years or so, I would say that has been partnering more with Michael in ministry. We've always partnered in a ministry in that we're here at the same church, but now we have intersected in taking our Branson trip with our 50 plus members, or teaching our new members class together, or I like to read his writings and kind of edit for him and go back and forth and things like that. So the Lord has given me an opportunity to partner with him more closely in ministry in the last few years.
And it's interesting because people who are new to our church may not know this. One of Marcy's great gifts was as a singer. And in fact, that's part of when we were dating. Part of truly what drew my heart to her was hearing her sing. I remember the first time I heard her sing in college solo, and it wasn't just her voice, it was her heart, her eyes, I could just tell this was truly what she believed, and hearing her sing truly was part of what just captivated my heart. So as in ministry, I don't even know how many funerals I preached that she would sing at those funerals, or weddings I would do that she would sing at the weddings. And for many years, if I was a guest somewhere preaching, she would usually sing and then I would preach.
Yeah.
It was great because they loved her, and even if I bombed, they would end up thinking it went well. And so she sang at church, and she was often asked to sing, all the special events. She was just so gifted, and people loved to hear her sing. And a few years ago, I think she felt like it was just kind of time for a newer, younger generation to do that, and so she started to kind of step back from that, not singing solos at special events, kind of a thing very often, and so it just kind of created room for other people to do that.
Yeah.
And I get in trouble every once in a while because people at church are like, "You got to make Marcy sing," and every once in a while I'll twist her arm and she'll come out of retirement.
Yeah.
But it's very rare now. But people that are new to our church wouldn't know that.
Right.
But that was the biggest way that we partnered together for many, many years, is weddings, funerals, special events that I was preaching at outside of our church.
Yeah.
Almost all of those were done with her singing in tandem with me.
Yeah. Well, and your family, not only have you guys been involved in ministry, but all of your kids are involved in ministry. Your daughter-in-law, Mary, and my wife, Chelsea, do women's ministry stuff together along with another team of women. And so you guys have been such a good, faithful example of what it means to serve in the church, to shepherd the flock from among them. And I think you guys do such a good job of that. But speak to just a little bit of the joy of raising your family in the church and the joy of seeing your family in the church.
Yeah, it is. It is such a privilege and a gift we've been given. Marcy and I often say we realize it may or may not always be like this. It may just be for a season. We're enjoying this season where both of our sons and their families live very close by. They are involved in the church. They live here on purpose. They wanted to be as a part of our church. And so both of our sons, both of their wives are active in our church. They're parts of different ministry teams throughout our church. And so it's just a joy to get to see them flourishing, to get to see them serving, to see them as their own men in our church. And their wives just have jumped in from the get-go. Both of them, Bailey and Mary, our daughters-in-law, from the get-go of being in our church, have just plugged in and served. Yeah. And, it's a challenge because they didn't grow up, at the pastor's kids. Right. Mine did, for good or for bad, but the girls didn't. And that was one of the reasons why, I told both my sons when they're getting married, you don't have to be at our church. You may want to go somewhere else. You may want a fresh start. You may not want to be, pastor's kids, and your wives may not. But they embraced it. Our daughters-in-law have embraced it. And I think they're a strength to us because they serve faithfully, a strength to our church, and a blessing to us to watch. And it's the sweetest thing to get to see our own kids and their wives just serving the Lord. Our four of our kids are in church on Sunday. They're all in Sunday school. They all are serving either on Eyes and Ears or through their Sunday school class or through adult choir or women's ministry. Both of Bailey and Mary both help Marcy set up stuff for Ladies Night of Theology. That's become kind of just a family ministry, and it's an honor to see them do that.
Yeah, and it's not lost on us how special and rare it is that both of our sons spent their entire childhood, youth, and now adulthood at one church. We know that doesn't happen every day, and so they have also. We talk about us putting down roots here. They have put down roots here, and they've started a legacy for their families of faithful servanthood and leadership within the church, and we're just thrilled and honored that they've chosen to continue here with us. Yeah. And you got two sweet grandkids. Yeah. Good kids. They're just the happiest babies.
They are so much fun, and they live 3 doors down from each other. Yeah. Our sons live 3 doors down from each other, and so their kids are cousins, obviously, and so they're getting to grow up, and they're 10 weeks apart, so they're really going through everything in life at the same time. And they play together. It just cracks us up watching them interact with each other. They're really sweet with each other, and incredibly cute little babies. Yes. But they're both those babies are in the church all the time, and one of the thrills. I mean, obviously I see them on Sundays and Wednesdays, but those babies are here throughout the week. Their moms or dads are up here for church or serving or whatever it may be, and so our grandbabies feel already, they're just 1.5 years old, but it's very normal to them to be at the church. It's normal to them to be around God's people, and so I think we both feel very blessed that that's their life for our grandkids.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, if you were to give just one last, what is something that's exciting you, that excites you about the church today? Something that's going on in ministry. Just as we close this episode, what would be that final word of just something that you rejoice in right now in life and ministry?
Yeah. So it's interesting because having finished 25 years, it has been a bit of a season for me of reflection.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a season of thinking about what the Lord has done, what I've been fortunate to be a part of. But I also find myself very, very much looking forward. And as I look back and see, hey, here's the scriptures we've been able to walk through, the books of the Bible I've been able to teach through, I'm also very much looking forward, thinking if God were to give me time, which he doesn't owe me, but if he were to give me time, the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I know that's going to go very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking not so much at all the books of the Bible I've taught. I'm looking at the books of the Bible I haven't taught.
Yeah.
And thinking kind of pencil to paper, how much can I get in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years?
Yeah.
And, how's that going to work? And I find myself just very motivated and excited about what I, Lord willing, will get to teach in the days ahead, because our church here loves the Bible.
Yeah.
And our church here enjoys learning the Word, enjoys worshiping as we study the Word. And I just want to serve them faithfully. I want to feed them well. I pray the Lord uses me to continue to deepen their love for the Lord and their love for the Word. And so I find myself very excited about getting to do that, and also just wanting to make the most of every single season that the Lord brings me, because I've been able to teach 28 or 29 books of the Bible here. Several books of the Bible I taught verse by verse in my former church before I came here. So I've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ground yet to go.
Yep, that's right.
And so I find myself motivated and excited about that journey for sure.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm just excited about relationally how, especially among our staff, how the Lord has just brought us all together for this point in time in ministry, and how our hearts have all just become so enmeshed with each other. I look forward to our staff wives will get together to go out to eat, pretty often. And we love each other so much, and we care about each other's needs. We care what's going on in each other's lives. We have a group text, as I'm sure all you guys do. But we just...
Jeremy, are you on the wives text?
No.
I'm not on that one.
I'm not on the wives text.
Wives
no.
only. But just, sharing pictures of the kids, grandkids, and... did you guys see that? Blah, 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 or whatever. But we're friends, and that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
And the Lord has given us friendships with each other that I just cherish this time in ministry of, I like all you guys.
Yeah.
And I like all your wives, and we all just love each other. We have staff retreat coming up. I'm really looking forward to that. I just love having people that we can not only study the Bible with, but that we can laugh with.
Yeah.
And we're all just such good friends.
Yeah.
We have a pastor's text thread, but 95% of it is either Jeff mocking us or us mocking Jeff.
That's true. That's very accurate.
That's pretty much how it is.
That's it.
5% of it is something relevant. 95% is either Jeff mocking us or us ganging up on him.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But even though that's funny, it's a blessing. It's just a blessing.
It is. It is a great blessing.
The kinsmanship and brotherhood that you all share, and the sisterhood that we share, we love it.
Tell them about lunch today, and I got to be the joke today.
So Michael gets the ticket, and which usually we split tickets, we write our own thing, we figure it out. Today, Michael graciously took the ticket for all of us, and paid for our meal, so we appreciate that. However, there was an issue that he couldn't read the ticket.
Your readers?
No, he had glasses on. John's question was, "What are your glasses even for?"
I couldn't read the number. I was trying to do the gratuity. I couldn't read the number at all. And so I handed it to Joey beside me.
And Joey says, "That's 81, 82, and yells it at him like he's in a nursing home or something and needs hearing aids.
And that's when John said, "Why are you even wearing glasses?
Yeah.
What are we doing with you?"
Yeah, this is all after we had we're trying to help him order off of a menu at a restaurant he had never been to.
It wasn't a place I was used to. I don't do well ordering without Marcy there.
Yeah.
I was trying to take care of it myself.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, I was actually telling the guys before they were mocking me at lunch that I had just told a friend of mine that if you have skin thick enough to put up with us, it is the greatest blessing to be on our staff. It literally is the greatest joy to be on our staff.
Absolutely.
But you got to have some thick skin to put up with.
That's exactly right. And it's absolutely true. It is one of the greatest blessings. And as I have said before, Michael, it has been the joy of my ministry to get to serve alongside you and to do ministry with you and to watch you and Marcy live out your faith, live out the love that you have for one another and for the Lord has been a great blessing and a great example for us. And if I say much more than that, I'll get weepy.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, listeners, for joining us once again for the 412 podcast. Until next time, we'll see you. This podcast is made possible by the members of First Baptist Mustang. This podcast is produced by John Osmus, our Director of Media, artwork by Olivia Travis, Director of Communications, and music by Pastor John Brewer, Worship Pastor here at FBC Mustang. For more information about First Baptist Church in Mustang, you can go to fbcmustang.org. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the 412 podcast.